now we're back with Ken Bennett. Ken's going to get on the whiteboard here and do what he does best and break down the economics for us and get into the numbers and make us all a little more informed of what's going on here in Arizona.
Okay, good. Some of you have seen me do an illustration with some Kleenex boxes that illustrates where the state spends money, and then some charts that kind of explain how the state got into the crisis that we're in. That takes about 20 minutes, and I know we don't have that kind of time, so I think I can maybe explain on the board here in just a couple of minutes what has happened essentially in the last 4 or 5 years. The last time the state general fund was balanced was in 2007. The spending was at about $9.5 billion. These are all in billions. And the revenue was about $9.5 billion. And we had almost $1.2 billion of reserves in the rainy day fund and cash balance and things like that. Unfortunately, in 2008, even though the revenue was starting to drop and went down to about the $9 billion level, the spending was raised to about 10.5. And so that created about a $1.5 billion hole that they started using some of the reserves, transferring money from other state agencies, delaying payments, and some other things to get through that first year. Even though in 2009, when the revenue continued to slide, and it ended up at about $7 billion, the spending initially went to over $11 billion before they started to kind of cut it back. And by the time that Governor Napolitano left, she had cut it back a little bit to about 10.7, but that still didn't get us anywhere close. By the time Governor Brewer took over, she was able to get it back to about 10. But 10 to 7 coming in still left about a $3 billion hole for 2009. They used up all the rest of the reserves and started borrowing money and doing some other accounting sweeps and gimmicks and delaying payments and things like that. Going into the 10 budget then, they were able to get the spending back to about 9.5, but unfortunately the revenue dropped and eventually bottomed out at about 6.5. And so we really still had about a $3 billion problem. There was a tax increase. Let's see if I can grab another number here. They went to the voters and added about $1 billion a year of taxes in May of last year with Prop 100. And as I mentioned earlier, the revenues kind of bottomed out and is starting to come up gradually, but this year, even with that $1 billion of tax increase, our revenue's up to about 7.5. They have got the spending down to about 9. So we're back to about a $1.5 billion problem. And we're just about out of all the little tricks and gimmicks that could be used. And so we're now starting to see, and the question will be, what's 12 going to look like? We're starting to see a little bit of growth in the revenue. So maybe the revenue gets up into the 8+ range, we hope. But we're still going to have to reduce the spending down in order to get these numbers back in balance. So that gives you a quick synopsis of what happened to the revenue and the spending for the last 4 or 5 years. And as you can see, we really had the problem in here where spending went up while revenue started to go down, and it really got bad in 2009. And then Governor Brewer has been trying to, and the new legislature has been trying to solve that problem ever since. Maybe we put a little question mark over here.
And once again, I said, just wanted to thank Ken for giving us the insight of what's been going on here in Arizona, explaining things, and just put it down so that way people can see what's going on, what we're here to do in Arizona, what we're trying to do to fight to get things back in line. I'm Chris Flowers. I'm doing interviews with the Young Republicans, and once again, thank Ken for taking the time to work with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it very much.